KFC is a great place if you're going to find some fast food dinner for the day. But is it something that you want to eat for Christmas dinner? Probably not. But that's up to you. There's many cultures all around the world that celebrate Christmas in many different ways. One way is Japan eats KFC for dinner on Christmas, which is very different from us. I have been very passionate about Asian culture, and I have done the proper research to ensure that this speech is fully informational. I'm here to inform you about the difference and similarities between the US and Japan for their Christmas celebration. We celebrate Christmas on December 25th, and we open presents and have our dinner, and that's usually when we have our main celebration. But for us, we start celebrating the day after Thanksgiving. That's when people usually go get their trees, decorate them, go Black Friday shopping, and have all those traditions. And majority of the country celebrates Christmas. But for Japan, they celebrate on Christmas Eve, so it's December 24th. And that's the day that they do most of their traditions. They, according to whychristmas.com, no author 42520, Christmas Eve is thought of as a romantic day in which couples spend together and exchange presents. In many ways, it resembles Valentine's Day celebration in the USA. Young couples like to go for walks and look at the Christmas lights. So for us, we already have our Valentine's Day, so Christmas for us is not like theirs. It isn't a romantic holiday, it's more religious based. But in Japan, they put their tree up on Christmas Eve, and then they take it down at Christmas Eve night. It's a one-day celebration. But they do have a celebration the day before that's even bigger, and that's the Emperor's birthday, which is on December 23rd. And that's where they do most of their celebrating for the Emperor. And then Christmas is just kind of a holiday. They don't celebrate it as much. When you think about eating for Christmas, you probably think maybe ham, turkey, or some traditional plate that you have at your table that your ancestors might have brought into your family. But for the Japanese, they eat KFC for dinner. And you're probably thinking, well, why would you eat KFC for your Christmas dinner? Well, here in the 1970s, they have these Christmas bundles that came into Japan. They came out with this where you could buy something that was affordable and it was already made. You didn't have to waste your time making this big meal. You could either have chicken or turkey, a side, and then some kind of dessert. So you see a typical one there, and then maybe if you had a bigger family, you'd have more meat to provide for the bigger families. And this came about because in 1970, they opened the stores and they wanted to sell more and get that out in the advertising world to show that you can have it any time. And then it just kind of picked up as a new tradition in Japan. According to Kate Taylor, Business Insider, December 25th, 2017, an estimated 3.6 million Japanese families eat KFC during the Christmas season. That's a lot of people that have KFC. It wouldn't be my first choice, but that's theirs. Along with having your meal and your meat and sometimes your dessert, there's another dessert that they choose to eat. It's called Christmas cake. According to Wisconsin Public Radio, Allison Bruzek, December 16, 2014, the dessert is a type of sponge cake covered with snow white whipped cream topped with perfectly shaped ruby red strawberries. And the reason that this was picked is because it looks like this, and the top has the strawberries, and that represents their flag. And their flag has a big red circle in the middle. The strawberries represent that, and the whipped cream on the outside represents the rest of the flag. For us, we would probably call this strawberry shortcake. And for the Japanese and the USA, we do have some similarities. We both exchange cards and gifts. For us, gift giving is very similar in both countries. And the Japanese actually took upon our culture and our practice of gift giving and brought it back to their country. The US, when we give out cards or Christmas cards, we send them out throughout the whole month of December. And it's usually a picture of your family with some saying happy holidays or something, or you send out a newsletter to kind of brag about how well your family's doing that year. But in Japan, it's very different. They have cards like these. They have some that have origami on the front, or fans, or some cultural thing that's on there, along with, they also have ones that have visual descriptions of what it looks like around their town, and so then they can send it out to their loved ones. And I personally would not classify this as a Christmas card here, but for them, that's what they call it. But it's really a card to appreciate and tell people that they appreciate you, that you love them, and that you appreciate that they're in your life, not showing what you have in a newsletter. So those two things are very different. So there are so many different varieties of celebrations all over the world to celebrate this one holiday. And it's really weird to most of us how different it can be, like having KFC for your Christmas dinner. And there's so many similarities and differences that we can see in between these two countries. And if you compared them all, there would be similarities and differences. And as you can see, Japan also takes from our cultural everyday uses like KFC and shortcake, and they made it into their holiday traditions.